See, anyway, guys, here I am at my mum's house over here. So I'm trying to enjoy life. I'm trying to do my life much better for myself to grow. And I'm realizing some things over here where I have to start boosting my English skills. I have to start reconnecting words together and everything like that. And I have to do better in all walks of life over here because I've been struggling a lot in terms of my health because my health's been going down. And I'm just being honest about that. But the thing is that I have to go and improve my habits. But it's very difficult to improve your habits while you're around my mum. You have to understand that my mum makes it difficult for me to improve upon my habits. You understand? But when I'm alone, when nobody's yelling at me, when nobody's telling me what to do with my life, you understand? I promise you I have much more of greater strength inside of me to do my life without anybody else than with somebody else. You understand? Because my mum doesn't understand some things and she thinks she's always right about everything, and with her you cannot argue with her. You understand? You cannot argue with anybody because it gets worse and worse the more you argue. You understand? So make sure you never argue with people, just do what they want you to do. You understand? And just realize that it's much more how you have to find common ground. You have to remove people from your life, you understand? And that's it. So, for example, once I go back to Australia, I don't think I'm going to go Uruguay. I don't think it's worth it for me to go to Uruguay with my mother because I'm gonna stay at home. I'm gonna do my own thing. And I realized something, that if I'm not improving, I'm just gonna go Uruguay. It just depends. It just depends on me in terms of life and what I want out of my life. I realize if I'm not improving, then I'll go Uruguay. But if I am improving, then I won't go Uruguay. You understand? So it just depends on my personality and what's happening with my life. So if I'm actually serious about things, I realize that I do love everyone in my life, but I have to do better in regards to everything that I am in life so that I can do better for myself at least. I realize that's the whole point, isn't it? Every single day to realize yourself, to do some content for yourself, to realize how much more better that you can do in terms of life, how much more better you can do in terms of your life, and how much more you can give. Do you understand? I mean, I've gave a lot in terms of life, do you understand? But for other people, it's not enough. And it's not that it's not enough, but people are not reading my content because they're unaware, and I realize they're unaware about it. But the thing is that, I mean, what can I really teach them about life? I mean, I can just make them more aware about what I've become aware about. Do you understand? I can give them my side of the story. That's all I can give them. Well, that's all I have to give. You understand? I've gave everything that I could in this life. I've given my best every single day. I've given my best, and that's it. I promise you, I have no regrets about life. Do you understand? Because my life is different toward other people, and everything in terms of everything that I've done is me moving forward now, and I have to always grow with myself. Because if I don't grow, I don't know anything. Do you understand? So I have to grow somehow. And do I like being at my mum's house? I do. I do like being at my mum's house. And why do I like it? Because I still get to do myself a favor. I see, so every single day I'm just trying to do better for myself, and I understand God understands me and exactly what I'm trying to say and what I'm trying to do. But the thing is that only God understands me where I am. You understand, in terms of life. And I'm doing better than other people, I understand that, but I'm still doing worse than other people in terms of other ways. You understand? I can be doing better. You understand? I realize that. So it's much more how I understand other people don't have food to eat right now. And probably they have no jobs. You understand? I realize other people don't have a job. I realize they have no purpose. I realize they're not doing YouTube channels. I realize they're unhealthy. I realize they're drinking alcohol. Do you understand? So I'm not the only person that's the worst version of himself. Do you understand? I realize there are other people out there who are worse off. You understand? So, am I worse off for the long term or better off in the long term? I think I'm better off in the long term, to be honest. I think I'm doing better in the long term than I am worse off. But you still have to find that middle ground every single day. You still have to achieve certain aspects of life every single day. Because if you don't, then you're falling apart. You understand? So my mum asks me, like, you do nothing during the day, you do nothing in life. You understand? The thing is that I'm doing something to help myself. You understand? I'm always doing something to help myself. You understand? Or else everyone's trying to help themselves to some degree. You understand? I just became aware of that. You understand? I realized that homeless person on the street is trying to help himself in some kind of way. You understand? You can see them with signs, give me money please. I mean, they're trying to help themselves, you understand? But the thing is that, lucky I'm not homeless, you understand? I realize there's many people homeless right now in the street. You understand? I mean, other people are murderers, pedophiles, I mean, they're in jail, do you understand? And that's where they live, do you understand? People have that kind of lifestyle as well. I cannot complain. I cannot complain with where I am at in life. You understand? Because there are people worse off than me. You understand? So, are they worse off totally than me? I promise you, yeah. Totally worse off than me. You understand? So, even though I'm smoking cigarettes at the moment and doing stuff like that, I realize there are people in jail who are not smoking cigarettes and stuff like that. So, but in other countries they are. They're still smoking cigarettes while in jail. You understand? So, I realize that it's just how you feel about life and what you need to do around life to work and do something for yourself. That's what you need to do. So it's much more about that. I realize with my mum, you cannot even have a proper conversation with her. She's always arguing with you about things. So I find myself alone, and only God understands me about my life. So the thing is that I just have to stay away from the alcohol. I have to stay away from Red Bull. I have to stay away from certain aspects of life so I can do better for myself. And that's it. I promise you nothing else. So if I'm doing a better job for myself, I realize it's much more how I need to grow. I have to grow. But no amount of talking is going to help me. Do you understand? I can talk about it all day long. I have to improve. I I mean, if I don't do it, if I don't do what I say I'm gonna do, then you can talk all you like, but you're still gonna lose in life. You understand? I realize that anyway. I'm not a loser. You understand? I done something in life, and I'm not stupid either. I'm not stupid. I'm doing something to help my life to succeed. You understand? And that's what I need to be doing every single day. I have to grow the person I am. You understand? I mean, today I learned something new around FL Studio. And if I every single day learn 3 things about FL Studio or 3 things about, for example, music production and stuff like that, I'll get better. You understand? So every single day just read something. You understand? Constantly be reading something. And you always have to push yourself these days to read something. Do you understand? I promise you it's more how I feel like just going and subscribing to Blinkist again, so I can go and read books and stuff like that. But I have YouTube. I have YouTube for myself. I have YouTube Premium, and I can just focus on that for myself. And I'd rather just focus on YouTube Premium right now than anything else. But I'm like this person that if I don't life coach every single day, then I feel I missed a day. Do you understand? If I'm not life coaching my life, or if I'm not giving advice out there, I feel like I've lost a day. You understand? So I have to always be coaching. I have to always be teaching about life, something, and uploading on the internet, something. You understand? Something about success, something about helping yourself to succeed. Do you understand? And my mum said something recently. She's like, you don't even do what you say. And she's right. I don't do what I say that I'm going to do. You understand? And the thing is that I've been falling apart that way. You understand? So my integrity has fallen. You understand? Why has my integrity fallen? Because I'm living with my mum. Is she to blame? Unfortunately, she's not to blame at all. You understand? But the thing is that she influences my life a lot. I mean, imagine you're me, and you go to a distant country where you've never ever been to. In terms of, you imagine going to a country where you know nothing of surroundings. I mean, you don't even know how to get to the shop. You don't even know, for example, how to get yourself internet. You understand? And all you can do is hold your mum's hand to go to the shops or to get yourself internet or something like that. Do you understand? And you don't have a car. You have to walk it. Do you understand? And you realize that your mum is not willing to drive you to the shops every single day, and is not willing to make you food the way you want your food to be made. You understand? Because she thinks that soy milk has a lot of fat in it, and she won't get you soy milk. You understand? She won't allow you to drink soy milk, because in her words, you can see in her words, she doesn't want to allow you. Do you understand? So then she doesn't want you to eat too much tofu. She doesn't want you to eat beans. She doesn't want you to eat peas. You understand? She doesn't want you to eat lentils. You understand? So what do you do in that situation where you're totally like relying on somebody else to live life? You understand? So you have to eat what they eat. You understand? So what my mum makes every single day for dinner is what I have to eat, because otherwise she gets angry if I try to be vegan. You understand? So what can I do? Well, you understand? The only thing I can do is remove my mum from my life and never go and contact her again. And I can contact her, I can talk to her, but I don't have to live with her. I don't have to come see her anymore. And shall I do that for myself? Because I understand, I ask God, I mean, is that something that I can do? I'm pretty sure God says, yeah, why not? I'm pretty sure God says, if you want to live alone and you don't want to see your family anymore, that's your choice. Do you understand? You can totally go your own way. And I'm not worried in life. I understand that my life is something special to some degree. I'm always living life to some degree. I realise I've gained weight because I've been eating my mum's food. I've been drinking Red Bull. I've been eating, for example, I've been drinking alcohol. I mean, I understand I'm to blame, but that's it. You cannot blame other people at all for something that is your responsibility. All that you can do is try to get away from those people. You understand? Try to do better. But if you're not, I mean, what's the point of being vegan if you're gonna kill yourself with drugs? You understand? So if you're killing yourself with drugs, like for example smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol, then what's the point of being vegan as well? You understand? So you cannot be vegan and do drugs at the same time. Even though you can be vegan as well. It's totally up to you how you want to live. You understand? But my choices in terms of life, it's like other people are choosing my own choices in life. You understand? It's like other people are choosing for me my life and when and where I'm gonna die. You understand? So do I have resentment about that? Probably nah. I mean, if my mum's gonna be that way, you understand? So in heaven, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna be like, look at you. I mean, look at what you've done to me. You understand? Look at what you've done to me. You didn't let me eat the way I want to eat. You understand? And she'll say, oh, but I did let you eat the way you want to eat. No, you didn't. Because why would I say that to other people? I mean, why would I talk about this in the first place? If you allow me to eat, I'll just say it to everyone. My mum allows me to eat the way I want to eat. I mean, you understand? Why would I lie about that? You understand? So my mum's definitely not allowing me to live the full life that I want to live. You understand? She says, here's some, go drink alcohol with Toma. And then she says, oh, you're drinking too much alcohol. I mean, why did you tell me in the first place to go drink alcohol? You understand? Why did you tell me in the first place to go drink alcohol? Or have a Red Bull, Danny. I drink a Red Bull and then she says, oh, you're having too much Red Bull. You understand? So, where do you see common sense in that? You understand? So, my mum doesn't make common sense. Do you understand? Even though she does with some points. But she's not right about everything. You understand? It's not the point to be right. It's not the point to be right or wrong. Never try to be right or wrong around life. You understand? Because you're going to get cursed. And you're going to get rebuked by people. And for example, just recently they removed one of my videos from YouTube because apparently it's hate speech about something. And I was talking about racism. I was talking about all sorts of things that people get offended about. You understand? And they call it hate speech, so they removed it from YouTube. So you just realize that if you start talking hate speech to people, and it's not really hate speech, just realize that if you start talking in a way that people are going to get offended on YouTube, they're going to remove your video. You understand? So just be aware of that. I see other people how much they swear at other people on YouTube and stuff like that, and their videos are still on YouTube. You understand? So it's just, life is unfair to some degree. You understand? But you just have to keep creating content. You still have to keep creating things for yourself every single day, doing the best job you can. That's what you need to be doing. So it's much more, if I'm not doing life coaching, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm gonna do my music production, and that's it. I have to do my passions, because I live for my passions. Do you understand? I live for God. You understand? I'm doing God's work right now. Do you understand? I'm just talking words, and that's what God wants me to do. Talk as many words as possible. Express yourself to someone. You understand? I cannot express myself this way to my mum, because she'll go off at me. I mean, you cannot talk to her this way. I mean, she was not willing to listen to me. You know what I'm saying? She's not willing to let me be someone magnificent in her life in a way that I have something to say. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't listen to what I have to say. Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? She just wants to be heard. She just wants her to be heard, and that's it. You understand? So that's my mum. I realize my dad, he is very ignorant, my dad. I realize he'll tell you to shut up. You understand? Eventually, he'll tell you to shut up and leave him alone. You understand? And the thing is that my mum and dad, you cannot talk to them. You cannot talk to both of them. You can talk to them a bit, and then it gets into an argument. You understand? So both sides are like that. You understand? But my dad, he lets me drink Red Bull how much I want. He lets me drink alcohol how much I want. He lets me drink whatever I want to drink, or do whatever I want to do. You know, saying the thing is that's how my dad is. But my mum is very controlling. You know, I mean, she'll say no more Red Bulls for you, or she'll like order you around. She'll boss you around. She'll say stuff like, you're not going to eat this anymore. You're not going to do that anymore. You're going to do this anymore, and stuff like that. So like, she likes to tell me what to do. You understand? So the thing is that where can you go? I mean, don't live with your parents, guys. I mean, that's the best decision that you can do for yourself. Every single day, just don't live with your parents. Go alone somewhere. Go live alone. You understand? And you're going to be better off alone than with your parents. You understand? I promise you that. I promise you're going to live a better life alone when you have no one bossing you around. And I understand that at your 9-to-5 job, you have people telling you what to do and stuff like that, and they're making you feel stupid. I understand that. But the thing is that you have to survive somehow, and you have to work somehow, and you have to do something to withhold the house, and to have a house for yourself, and to have something for yourself. Do you understand? But the thing is that I'm not willing to get a mortgage rate in this time of the year. Do you understand? And why is that? Because you have to understand that World War III is around the corner. You understand? And it's not a good situation at all to own a house today at all. You understand? The house prices are going up everywhere, and it's just not worth it. You understand? So you have to find your way. So am I scared to work the 9 to 5 job? I'm not scared to work the 9 to 5 job. I've worked a 9 to 5 job before. And now am I afraid to keep the 9 to 5 job? I'm not afraid to keep the 9 to 5 job. I'm not afraid in life of anything. I'm not afraid to have a heart attack. Okay, I'm not afraid to have a heart attack because I still smoke cigarettes. And why would I be afraid to have a heart attack? I mean, you understand? It doesn't happen to everyone. You understand? So the thing is that the smoking of a cigarette does cause heart attack. You understand? But the thing is that it's a slow type of thing. You understand? I mean, people don't have heart attacks straight away from a cigarette. You understand? It's a slow death. You understand? So it's a slow process. But I'm gonna quit cigarettes very soon. You understand? And I'm gonna quit, and I'm gonna do better for myself eventually. But I have to do better regardless. You understand? Because I cannot remain a smoker all my life. But my dad's gonna pass away very soon. And what can I do? I mean, that's life. And I have to live without him. You understand? And I can live without him. It's just going to be different. I mean, he's not going to pay the bills anymore for me. I mean, he's not going to pay the rent for me anymore. He's not going to pay the electricity for me anymore. You understand? When he passes away from this life, he's not going to tell me what to do anymore. He's not going to boss me around anymore. You understand? My dad doesn't boss me around anymore, but he tells me something like, don't do that, don't do this. You know, I mean, he's trying to coach me, you understand? I mean, he's trying to teach me something. And you have to understand that, do I miss my dad? I miss my dad. I do miss my dad. I miss being in my dad's house, you understand? And why do I miss being in my dad's house? I miss being on that bed, relaxing, putting the air conditioner on, cuddling myself up in that bed, and just laying on the couch, doing my YouTubing, doing my uploading. I miss that old lifestyle with my dad. And that's going to pass away eventually. That's going to go. You understand? And you have to find new ways of life. You have to find new ways of living, because I cannot live like that all my life. And why is that? Because my dad's going to pass away. I understand he's going to leave, and then he's going to leave it up to me to have that house for myself. And that's Housing Commission home. I mean, the government gave me the house. I mean, you understand? And I have to take care of it. You understand? I'm going to have more house duties. I'm going to have the 9 to 5 job. I'm going to be working 9 to 5 job. And what can I do? I mean, I have to do something anyway. I have to do something anyway. Do you understand? So that's the way it is. And you have to grow from what you have in life. So now I'm just over here in my mum's house over here. I'm in Germany at the moment. And it's not like anybody listens to me anyway, but the thing is that somebody out there is listening to me, because I'm posting everything to YouTube. So apparently someone out there is going to listen to this, and that's it. Apparently, as long as someone listens to this, I mean, then my work is fulfilled. And even if you don't listen to this, whoever you are, apparently it's more how God's always doing my work anyway. You understand? God's doing the work for me anyway. So you're listening to God somehow, and my job's done already. God done all the work for me already. You understand? So as far as I'm concerned, I don't have to do life coaching anymore. I don't have to do anything anymore in this life. You understand? God done everything for me already. You understand? God done all the work for me already. All I have to do is just live life the way I want to live life, and that's it. But I choose to do God's work. You understand? I choose to do God's work. You understand? Because otherwise, I have nothing to do. You understand? What else is it to do in this lifetime? There's nothing to do in this life other than God's work. And if you're not doing God's work, you're doing nothing. Yes, and so you have to be doing something in life. So every single day, try to always do something for yourself. Yes, and so that's what you need to do. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't have to do life coaching anymore. I don't have to do music production anymore. You understand? I'm not going to quit, but the thing is that it's more how God done the work for me. You understand? So I can say happy days. That's it. I just upload all my content up online and just move on. You understand? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a boring life. Whereas my life will be boring. My life will be more boring if I didn't do God's work than doing God's work. You understand? So that's how it is. I mean, everyone has an experience in life. Everyone's living some kind of experience in life. But I enjoy speaking. I enjoy talking. You understand? And the best time to talk for me is to talk on audio programs when nobody's listening. You understand? That way I express myself to somebody out there. You understand? That's what I need to do. You understand? So when I talk it out with myself on audio program, I feel smarter. I feel that someone's listening to me. I feel I have empathy from other people. I feel the universe is listening to me. Do you understand? I feel people want me to succeed when they just shut up and listen. You understand? So that's how it is. Yeah, I have the best conversations with myself. Only I understand myself. Approach, nobody understands me except me and God. You understand? So if you've gone through my content, congratulations, because nobody can go through my content the way I can. But the thing is that you have to understand, try to go through all my content, try to read all my content so you understand the full picture. You understand? I'll lead you in a spiritual path. I'll lead you into a domain that you've never been before. You understand? That's what I do. I unlock people's spiritual paths. And most people will laugh at that. You understand? They'll be like, who are you to do that? You understand? I mean, look, life is life. You understand? You pick your poison. You pick your way of life. You pick your eternity. You pick everything around life. You do what you want to do around life. You understand? It's your choice. Everyone has a different path. So what are you going to do with your life? That's what I'm asking. You have to do something. You have to do something to succeed. You understand? And life gets boring if you're not speaking words. Life gets boring if you're not doing music production. You understand? So that's how I see life. I see 9 to 5 job is so boring. I promise you, it's so boring over there. But the thing is that it can be interesting if you make it interesting. You understand? I promise you, anything can be interesting to you if you have a great, interesting mind. You understand? That's how it is. You understand? So try to be interested in everything. Try to be fascinated about everything. As Jim Rohn says, try to be fascinated in the traffic area when you're holded up by traffic. Try to say, hey, isn't that fascinating that I'm here? I mean, isn't it fascinating that this happened to me? I mean, you understand? I mean, try to be interested about everything. I mean, isn't it fascinating about how my mother feeds me and how she talks to me and stuff like that? I mean, it's interesting, to be honest. You pick apart her mind, you say, hey, Mom, I love you. You understand? The thing is that's how it is, you understand? You have to go your own way. You have to see what you want to do in life, see with everything, you understand? So you just grow yourself the way you can. You grow yourself spiritually. What can you do, guys? What can you do to better people's lives? You understand? That's the question. I mean, have I done enough? I haven't done enough, definitely. I can definitely do more. I can definitely do more content. But life is a spiritual road. I mean, you have to do something. You have to do something in life. So every single day, try to focus on yourself. And try to focus on a better life. try to focus on doing something much more passionate for yourself. Try to read more and more and more every single day. You know what I'm saying? Try to be curious about life. Try to have a passion that you're passionate about something. You know what I'm saying? And that way you grow. You know what I'm saying? You grow yourself the best way you can. That's what you need to do. I want to say, guys, that tonight I went out to a German, let's say, disco, and I had fun. I drank some alcohol and I really got, let's say, tipsy. But I didn't get drunk to vomit or anything like that. See, the thing is that sometimes I see this woman and I feel that she's so beautiful that she could run away from me. The thing is that it's much more how, like, why would she go for me? Why would that woman go for me in terms of my habits? I smoke cigarettes, I drink coffee, I drink alcohol. I mean, why would that woman go for such a thing? I mean, she's so beautiful that her beauty doesn't even match my curiosity in terms of it. She doesn't even match my status. She doesn't even match my persona, to the point that it's more how she's just not for me. Do you understand? The thing is that there's so many beautiful women out there that not every one woman is for you. Do you understand? So the thing is that when I go to a nightclub, I see guys around women. I don't want to chase women because I think that a guy has that woman for himself. And I don't want to compete with guys to have a woman. Do you understand? So I think the best place to find a woman or a man is to go speed dating where people are matching in terms of curiosity, in terms of habits, in terms of everything that they want to be. And you have to realize that when I get drunk, I want to read something. You understand? I want to, like, after a night out at a disco or anything like that, I come back home and I just want to read. I want to get really intellectual. I want to get really smarter about the person I am. That's how I feel, and that's how I know that I am. You understand? So I realized I made many mistakes in life in terms of drinking alcohol and drinking caffeine and smoking cigarettes. I mean, that's as worse as it gets for me. And I gained weight. You understand? But the only reason I gained weight is because of the medications. You understand? The medications made me gain weight. But normally without the medication, I rarely get weight gain. You understand? I did get fat when I was younger, but that's because I was eating too much. But the thing is that that's when I was younger. I mean, when I was younger, when I was 13 years of age, I was really, let's say, I wasn't obese, but I was more fat than I was supposed to be. You understand? I was more fat than I was supposed to be. But now I see these women and, like, such a beautiful woman, like, for example, to approach her, to just say something to her, to say, hey, what's your name? Where you from? I mean, for some reason it gets difficult for me around beautiful women. I mean, women that I don't even feel compelled to approach because I somehow think that they're too good for me. You know what I'm saying? I somehow feel that they're not on my frequency level to even approach them. In a sense, so there was a time and space where I felt that I could get any woman that I ever wanted because of the habits that I was applying to myself. Because at that point of time, I felt that I really could get any woman that I want to ever get in my life because I felt that I was worthy of them. You understand? And at this point, I feel that it's much more the different thing. You understand? I don't feel as confident. I don't feel as worthy to approach a beautiful woman, to make her my own, to make her something of my capability. Do you understand? Because I feel that somehow I'll drag her down. I feel that somehow she wouldn't be happy with me. You understand? And that's truly from the bottom of my heart that I'm speaking of this. Because something in me feels like it's not the right time to approach a woman yet. But when is the right time to approach a woman? And see, the best time for me to approach a woman is when I'm working a 9 to 5 job, and when I have some more money, and when I get my habits straight. But until then, I cannot approach a woman because I don't feel confident in myself at that level. Do you understand? I don't feel that I'm worthy enough to have a woman in my life until I have a 9 to 5 job, until I get my habits straight, and until I become that person that I want to be in my life. You understand? But until then, it's just the way it is. You understand? So I have to feel worthy for a woman in my life. So it's more how I have to push my boundaries now. And I see that it's more how if I continue going the way I am, I feel that it's going to be much more difficult for me to have a kid. You understand? It's going to be much more difficult for me to have a wife. And I realize it's not the point of life to rely on other people to get money. You understand? The point is that you go make your own money, and you will make more money than you ever dreamed of when you work for yourself and when you go and work than trying to rely on the government for money. Because if you rely on the government for money, you won't have a woman. I promise you won't have a man in your life. And now it depends on how beautiful you are. I mean, if you have really good habits, you understand? I mean, you have to understand it all comes down to money. But you have to have a lot of money in life to attract a woman of your nature. Because a man who has money can always attract a woman in his life. You understand? Because that money is always forthcoming and he's always giving to that person, and you're always giving that money to your wife. You're always giving your money to your kids. You understand? Because you're working for it. You understand? That is what a classified man does in life. A man works for his money, and a man always gets to dream about anything that he wants to achieve, and he achieves it somehow. So what's pulling me back right now? I promise you, smoking cigarettes is pulling me back. I mean, alcohol is pulling me back. Caffeine is pulling me back. My weight gain is pulling me back. Do you understand? So I don't feel that I'm attractive enough to attract a beautiful woman in my life. I've seen so many beautiful women that I feel I missed out on those women. Do you understand? But not every woman is for you. And there was a time and space where I was fully at my best version, and I felt so satisfied in myself that I didn't need a woman in my life. But I was chasing a woman. I was so much chasing a woman that I didn't feel that I deserved, I felt I deserved a woman. But I felt that once I chased a woman at that level, that I deserved it completely, but that woman didn't deserve me. So I was chasing women so much below my level that those women were, in comparison, weren't much more effective than me and didn't feel as worthy as me. You understand? So the thing is that if you really, really go about life, don't go chasing women because it's not the right space and time. Approach it. What's the right space and time is when a woman's fully in your life, when she's fully understanding you. That is when you approach her, and that is when you ask her out for a date. Do you understand? When she's fully in your life. But if a woman or a man is not fully in your life, then what's the point of asking them to be in your life? Do you understand? So, I mean, what's classified as a woman or a man being in your life, for example? So it's much more if they're around you all the time. You understand? If a woman or a man is around you all the time, I promise you that means that they're into you. That means that they have some effect around you. That means that they have some kind of smell around you, that they like your smell, they like your sense of taste, they like who you are, and that's why they're around you. So if you get around a community of people where, for example, you may be doing folkloric dancing, or you may be doing a sport, or you may be doing dancing or anything like that, and you have women around you or you have men around you, I promise you the man or woman that's around you the most is that person that's more willing to be with you than anybody else. You understand? So, I mean, I'm happy to die alone. I mean, I don't need a woman to satisfy me, but sometimes I wish that I had a woman in my life to hug. I sometimes wish that I had a woman in my life to love fully and interestingly in a way that she's never been loved before, where I can touch her deepest moments, where I can experience stuff with her, where I can travel with her everywhere around the world, where I can do things with her and stuff like that. Sometimes I wish I had that, where money's not the problem. You understand? Where money's not the problem. I mean, where I can go and really satisfy a woman, and I had those opportunities before in my life, but I missed out. You know, saying I had an Indian woman, I could have been with her. I missed out with her. I missed out with Brittany, this Aussie girl. I missed out on this Aboriginal woman that I had sex with. I mean, there's many of them that I had sex with that I could have had a relationship with. You understand? But the thing is that I didn't feel that I was deserving of them. And some I felt that I was too good for. Do you understand? So the thing is that if you really, really feel that you need a woman, just need yourself in the moment. Just make sure that you have some point in time where you are growing yourself in the moment and you just say, hey, stop, recollect, and be your own person. You understand? So you don't need other people to satisfy you. You don't need a woman or a man to satisfy your needs. All you need is yourself. Just remember that quote. All you need is yourself. You understand? So you have to understand that you are good enough for every single person out there. You understand? You are good enough. You have it inside of yourself. But you have to feel that for yourself. You have to recognize that. You have to feel confident within yourself that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve, that you can be with that woman that's so beautiful in life, that you can have such a beautiful woman in your life or such a beautiful man in your life, that you don't have to recognize that, but you have to realize that you have to recognize that you have to realize that you can achieve anything that you want to achieve in life, but you have to go that way. You understand? So the thing is that in life, you have to recognize yourself the most. You understand? So be with yourself and then work on your habits. Work on your habits and work on yourself every single day and never stop. You understand? Never stop working on yourself. Because if you stop working on yourself, guys, I promise you the thing is that you're gonna start dying and you're gonna start becoming a worse off version than yourself, and you're gonna attract much more of the frequency that you are in love with. You understand? So what you are in love with is yourself right now, and you have a certain love for yourself every single day, but you have to grow that love for yourself every single day. You have to every single day invest in yourself and invest in a better mindset for yourself. You understand? So you have to understand that you have to stay away from alcohol. Yes, you have to stay away from cigarettes. You have to stay away from caffeine, so that you can be your most effective self. You understand? So you can be your most effective life force. So every single day work on yourself, guys. Make sure that you're living a great life for yourself. So for example, now I'm reading things around what do women go for. A woman goes for a man who has money. Do you have money in your life? Approach, you have to understand, you have to at least have over $10,000 in your life to attract a woman of nature. To attract any kind of woman, do you understand? But then you have to have great habits. You have to be better than yesterday. I promise you, that's what a woman goes for. Do you understand? So I already know what a woman goes for. You understand? But the thing is that I don't know anything. So you have to understand that it's much more how a man goes for that as well. I promise you, a man wants a woman that looks better than yesterday, that has money in her pocket. You understand? The thing is that a person that's always independent in life, that's moved away from their family, you understand? That's what people want in life. That's what is much more better for you right now than anything in the world. To go out there, to understand, to have satisfactory in being alone, to be satisfied in being alone in life. Unfortunately, that's what you have to figure out for yourself. You have to figure out How can you make the best life for yourself? Yes, and that's what, I mean, it's a game. I mean, it's a game of life. I mean, you have to make the best life for yourself. Yes, and I mean, yeah, you are a creator of your life. I mean, you're the creator of your own thoughts and dreams. And you have to understand that you have to create the best life possible. Yes, and so if you're not living the best life possible, then you're doing something in your life to drag yourself down. Yes, and so for myself, for example, I've been drinking alcohol, I've been smoking cigarettes, I've been drinking caffeine. So make sure that you don't do that. Yes, and make sure you don't drink caffeine. Make sure you don't drink alcohol. Make sure you don't smoke cigarettes. Make sure you don't get obese. Yes, and I mean, that's not the way. But the way is better than that. Yes, and so make sure you understand that you get in a healthy range of weight. Make sure you stop the drugs out there, stop the legal drugs, stop the illegal drugs. Make sure you focus on the mindset that you're always greater than yesterday. And so make sure you be vegan. Be vegan in life, and you're going to have a new perspective in life. You're going to have a better life. I promise you. So make sure you understand. Tonight I ate a hot dog for some reason. I don't even know why. But the thing is that I am not guilty. Yes, I am guilty and I'm not guilty at the same time. But the thing is that it's much more at the point of time now that I realize that I want to be a vegan. Yes, I want to be a vegan. And that hot dog was just such a mess for me to eat it. Yes, and I feel that I need to do better than that. Yes, and I realize the hot dog has no protein in it. Yes, and it has rarely any protein in it. And it's just carbs. I realized sauce with that, and I realized it wasn't I realized it's such a mess. You understand? So the thing is that you have to realize you have to go the better way. You have to go the better way. I've seen so many beautiful women tonight. I mean, some were smoking cigarettes. I mean, some were drinking alcohol. I mean, other women. I didn't see a woman I didn't see a woman that wasn't drinking alcohol, except for one woman that was smoking one of those things. I've seen two women that were drinking nothing. Yeah, same. But the thing is, they were a bit older than me. So the thing is that, like, for example, for me, it's much more difficult for me now to get a woman to go into bed with me for some reason. And the thing is that it's much more how it's always been difficult for me to do that for myself. Do you understand? But the thing is that it's not difficult to do, but the thing is that I'm not that kind of player anymore. I'm not that kind of guy that wants to get a woman and just fuck her. You understand? I'm not that type of guy anymore. You understand? That doesn't interest me. I mean, what interests me is a woman that wants to talk to me. A woman that's interested in me. Do you understand? I had one woman tonight who I talked to, and she was so interested in me. She was pulling out jokes on me and stuff like that. I could have asked for a number, but the thing is that I'm traveling right now, and it's not the best time for me to be with her. You're saying it's not the best time to be with her at the moment, and I see that because I'm not in one space at a time. I'm not in one zone. You understand? I'm traveling from zone to zone, and I have no time for her. You understand? I mean, she's such a nice girl, but the thing is that I have no time for her. I mean, when is the time that I have a time for a girl? I mean, do you understand? I mean, the time for me to have a girl is when I'm in one place, working a 9 to 5 job, in one place, and I'm stuck in one place. Yes, I'm stuck in one place. I have a 9 to 5 job. I'm going home to work, home to work, home to work, home to work. I go speed dating. I meet a woman. You understand? I meet a woman there. I go on a few dates with her, I go on regular dates with her and stuff like that. I ask her questions and stuff like that, and we get to know each other and stuff like that. And then it just flows. Do you understand? And I'm alone. I'm living away from my parents. I'm living away from my dad. I promise you, that's the best time for me. So that's coming up for me. I promise you, that's something that's coming up, and I mean, that's in a better age. And I have more self-awareness this way. You understand? So I have to keep the job. I have to keep the 9 to 5 job for myself. And that's easy to do. I promise you, it's easy to keep a 9 to 5 job. I promise you, it's really easy to do that. And I'm willing to do that. You understand? I'm willing to make that my passion. I'm willing to make a 9 to 5 job my passion. willing to do what needs to be done in a 9 to 5 job to get the money, to satisfy my needs, to live a life that I want to live, to get to the place I want to go. Do you understand? So I'm much more of that person now than I ever was. You understand? So the thing is that if you want to satisfy yourself, and if you want to do a better life for yourself, and if you want to grow for yourself, or anything that you want to do in life, you have to grow the person you are. You understand? You have to grow into the person you want to be. So every single day work on your habits, because if you don't work on your habits, guys, I promise you, you're not going to be your best version. You understand? So work on yourself every single day and make sure that you become your best version every single day, because that's the only point of living. That's true living. That's when you're truly living in life. You understand? Don't miss out on that. You understand? I mean, when you can wake up and you can say, what else can I work on but myself? I promise you, when you have nothing left to give, but you have more to give than ever than before, I promise you, that's the moment of time that you say, hey, I have all the habits that I want to have, and I still have to make more habits, and I still have to do better. And that's when you realize you have everything that you ever need in life. I promise you, only you can satisfy yourself. I promise you, nobody else can satisfy you except yourself. You understand? I promise you, alcohol tonight, I drank so much alcohol. I promise you, I drank a little bit of alcohol, but the thing is, they got me tipsy. And I'm still a bit tipsy. I'm still a bit tipsy right now. But the thing is that you have to realize that I'm speaking from the heart. I'm speaking from something that is beyond me. Yes, and I realize God's speaking through me right now. And I'm just learning through the experiences that I've experienced in my life. You understand? So I wonder, like, for example, if YouTube is going to delete my content or anything like that. So if you put your YouTube approach, if you put YouTube videos, if you do YouTube videos, I mean, I wonder if ever somebody's going to get deleted off YouTube for everything they've done. Do you understand? I mean, that would be such a shame. I mean, if you've done so much content on YouTube, and then somebody or people dislike your content, and people report your content and stuff like that, and then they delete your content off YouTube. I mean, they delete your whole YouTube channel. I mean, you have all these videos on YouTube and stuff like that, and they delete your whole YouTube channel. I'm sure that's the worst thing that can happen. But if that does happen, I let God do the work. Do you understand? I'll just go and move on. I have a good heart. Do you understand? But the thing is that it's much more how you have to realize that you must never give up. You must never give up on the person you want to be. You understand? So every single day work on yourself to become that person that you want to be. And don't complain. I mean, talk about it all you want, but make sure you do it. You understand? Make sure you do what you need to do every single day to become that person that you want to be, because that's the only important thing in life every single day. So make sure you understand that. Make sure you get to that point every single day. And realize that I've seen so many beautiful women tonight. I realized that I didn't have a chance to talk to them. You understand? I realized that it's much more how I can have a conversation with them and all that. And I can have a great conversation with people, but people don't understand me. I mean, the thing is that I don't speak up. You understand? I don't speak up for myself sometimes. You understand? Sometimes that shames me. I mean, sometimes I shame myself for that. You understand? But the thing is that you must never shame yourself. I mean, you understand? Make sure you never shame yourself. Make sure you realize you've done your best. I mean, make sure you understand that sometimes it's not the best situation to talk to people. Yes, and so all those situations, I could have approached a woman and said, hey, you look so beautiful. I mean, can I get you a drink or something like that? But the thing is, sometimes you don't have money to approach a woman to share her a drink. You understand? So, I mean, you understand? I mean, sometimes you have money, but the thing is that if you just buy a drink and stuff like that, I mean, it can be a waste of money. But the thing is, it's never a waste. I mean, it's never a waste of money. But the thing is that sometimes you can use that money for yourself. So sometimes selfishness comes in the form of selflessness, and sometimes selflessness comes in the form of selfishness. You understand? So you have to realize that sometimes when I want to shout people, I want to shout the whole place, drinks. I want to shout everyone drinks. But sometimes I can't afford it. You understand? I cannot afford it. You understand? But the thing is that I can afford anything. You understand? I can afford it somehow. But the thing is that I don't do it. You understand? I don't do it because I realize that money can be low. You understand? It can be low on me, and I need the money much more than what I'm trying to give. You understand? So the thing is, sometimes you have to hold the money for yourself, and you have to realize that it's much more important to have the money for yourself than to give it to other people. You understand? Because you give it to yourself first. And so you have to hold back sometimes, and that's the thing. I wish that my life wasn't like that. I wish that I didn't have to hold money back. You understand? The thing is, I wish I could just keep giving all my life, all to people. I mean, give as much money as possible to everyone else. I wish I could give everyone $1 million in life. You understand? But the thing is that I don't have it. I don't have that money to give to other people. I mean, how can I afford it? You understand? So the thing is that all I can give is words of advice. I mean, that's what I can give to everyone. I mean, that's much more richness anyway. I mean, words of advice. I mean, things that I can give in terms of my perspective. I mean, every single day giving my perspective, even though many people don't appreciate that. Yes, I mean, many people don't appreciate my perspective in life because they think that I'm some kind of poor dude or. I apologize. I mean, some people think that I'm some kind of poor dude. I mean, some random dude talking about his perspective. Do you understand? But the thing is that you have to realize that all perspectives can help you in some kind of way. Do you understand? I mean, something in my voice or in something in my words can unlock some kind of potential in you to show you some kind of way in life. Do you understand? So if you don't realize that, then you have to realize that you have to become much more aware of the person you want to become in life. Do you understand? So I realize something, that when I get drunk after a disco or after I come back home into my bed, and once I'm in my bed and once I'm tipsy, I feel like reading something. I feel like getting up and doing my work. I feel like doing my passions. I feel like making music right now. I feel alive. I feel energy in my life. You understand? But the thing is that I have to do something. Do you understand? I realize many people are getting, in terms of life, all these kind of satisfaction from women and men, and you have to realize that you have to realize something in life. I'm not gay, but the thing is that it's much more how some people just fuck. I mean, they fuck for no reason at all. They just want to fuck. You understand? And that's not the life. I mean, you understand? But sometimes like a man, you have to understand, a man gets a beautiful woman, he just fucks her and that's it. You understand? That happens a lot of times. You understand? And the thing is that it's much more how you have to appreciate the woman you have sex with. You understand? The thing is that it's much more delay sex after marriage. You understand? That's the best way. You understand? And the thing is, try to delay sex with yourself even more, as much as possible, because it's not about masturbating. It's not about satisfying yourself. I mean, try to delay satisfaction for yourself. Try to delay gratification. And then try to delay as much gratification as possible so that you can have a better satisfactory life for yourself. And then you'll feel more satisfaction in yourself by delaying gratification than you ever will having satisfied yourself. You understand? So just realize that. Just understand that point of view, and if you can get that message across to you, and if you can do that on a daily basis, I promise you can do anything. You know, I got to the point where I was so much more, let's say, delaying satisfaction for myself in a way of everything that I was doing. You understand? So the thing is, I was still having to work on myself and everything like that. But the thing is that I was much more in a better place before than I am now. In a sense, so the thing is that now is much more different because times are different. I mean, times are changing, and I'm much more traveling now in terms of with my mum and stuff like that. But the thing is that when you live with parents who don't want to encourage you to live on your own, in terms of don't want to encourage you to also eat for yourself in the way that you want to eat, you know what I'm saying? It can be difficult for you to actually eat the way you want to eat and live on your own, for example. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you understand that you have to get away from people. You have to get away from everyone. And you have to go your own way. Do you understand? You have to go your own way. You have to fly. You understand? You have to fly on your own. Do you understand? So the thing is, you have to actually always do the better job. Do you understand? Do the better thing in life. You understand? I mean, every single day I see men and women dancing together today. And the thing is, like, I see many women talking to with guys. I wish they were talking to me. You understand? I wish they were talking to me and stuff like that. But the thing is, they were not talking to me. You understand? It's like God denied me of that. You understand? But in a way, they're talking to me in spiritual ways. I mean, they're talking to me by just standing there. You understand? But the thing is that God's not denying me of anything. You understand? But the thing is, that's just the way it is. You understand? So, I mean, you have to understand that. All I can expect from them is words. Yes, and the thing is that you must never expect anything from anyone in life. Yes, and make sure you expect it from yourself, to give yourself the words that you want to achieve, and you give that of yourself every single day, and you make sure you encourage yourself to talk those words every single day, the most you can, and you make sure that every single day you have those people listening to your words every single day. The more you can achieve, the better. You understand? So that's how you live life. You understand? So every single day you have to understand that it's much more how it is. So just live a life that's much better for you and grow yourself the best way you can. See, so what I want to talk about is, I want to ask myself a question over here, and I want to ask myself, what makes me smoke cigarettes, to be honest? I mean, what's it doing for me? I mean, nothing. I mean, cigarettes do nothing for me. I mean, what makes me smoke cigarettes? I mean, what is it about cigarettes that makes me smoke cigarettes? I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like I forced myself to smoke cigarettes. But why? I mean, what is forcing me to smoke cigarettes? That's the thing, that I don't know what forces me except myself. I'm the only one that forces myself to do anything. I mean, it's not like anything outside of me has control of me. So nothing outside of me has control over me, over cigarettes. Do you understand? It's myself forcing myself to smoke cigarettes. It's like, why do I put myself in that situation? You understand? So I'm not addicted to cigarettes, but why am I forcing myself to push myself to actually smoke that cigarette? You understand? That's the thing. I don't know why. It's like I'm not ready. I'm not ready for what? I mean, what's there to be ready about? You understand? And the thing is that there's a lot to be ready about, but the thing is that I'm not somebody who's a smoker. You understand? I'm not a smoker, for example. So what makes me smoke cigarettes? Like, why do I have to smoke that cigarette? Do you understand? I mean, why don't I just stay away from it? Do you understand? Why don't I just go away from it? So it's much more how I force myself. I'm the one forcing myself. I will myself to smoke a cigarette because why? I mean, there is no reason for that. There's no reason for you to smoke a cigarette. There's no reason whatsoever at all. So there's no reasoning around the cigarette. I mean, there's nothing that makes you feel good about cigarettes. There's nothing that makes you feel good about smoking a cigarette. There's nothing that makes you feel worthy about a cigarette. Do you understand? So it's more how you have to realize that it's just you forcing yourself to smoke a cigarette, and that's it. I mean, it's either you force yourself to quit or you force yourself to smoke a cigarette. I mean, what do you want out of life? You know, so there is no real reason. I mean, there's no real reason as to why I smoke a cigarette. You know, so I promise you that's probably the reason why. I promise you, is that the reason why? I don't know. I promise you, it's much more how you have to realize that I'm not making any reason for smoking cigarettes right now. You know, so the thing is that I don't need to smoke a cigarette, and I have to realize that. You know, so that's how I see life. You know, that's all the reasons for everything else, in terms of alcohol and smoking, in terms of Red Bull and caffeine, and it's the same things. I'm pretty sure there's no reason to do all that at all. I mean, you don't need to be doing that at all. Yes, and so make sure you pick better habits. You choose better habits. You choose better choices in life. You do things better for yourself. Yes, and so that's what you need to do. You have to focus on yourself. You have to focus on a better way of life. Yes, and so that's how I see life now. So it's much more how you have to focus on a better routine for yourself and make sure that you're growing. Yes, and otherwise you're just pulling yourself down. Yes, and so you have to do better. See, guys, so I just quit Red Bull, I quit alcohol, I quit caffeine, I quit black coffee, I quit cigarettes, and I quit soft drinks, and now it's time to get into discomfort, baby. I realize now, at this point, I'm my best version. I'm at the best version I can be in terms of habits, but I have to keep it up. I have to every single day get myself into discomfort. I have to realize that once I wake up in the morning, I have to go and do something around my phone. I have to wake up and I have to plan ahead about what I'm going to do around life. So, for example, once I wake up in the morning, instead of going to the kitchen to drink a coffee or to drink a black coffee, I'm just going to stay in bed and I'm going to write on my phone. I'm going to write something down. I'm going to wake up slowly. And then I'm going to go in the kitchen, for example, or whatever. I don't even have to go in the kitchen because my mum makes me black coffee in the morning and she puts on the table for me ready to go. And the thing is that somehow entices me to drink black coffee, you understand? Because she makes it for me already. So the thing is that once I wake up in the morning, once I wake up, some specific time that I wake up, I have to understand I want to wake up at, let's say, 11 a.m. in the morning. I'll set up my timer and I'll wake up and then I will just browse my thoughts. I'll browse everything that's coming up in my mind and I will just be specific about everything and I will just document everything in terms of my thoughts and what's happening to me and stuff. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die without cigarettes. I'm not gonna die without alcohol. And I'm not addicted to alcohol, thank God. I'm not addicted to Red Bull, thank God. I'm not addicted to anything other than cigarettes and caffeine. You understand? But the thing is that I feel that I've been pushing myself to drink caffeine. I've been pushing myself to smoke cigarettes. You understand? I promise you, the cigarettes are not pushing me. I promise you, the cigarettes and caffeine is not pushing me and pulling me to smoke and to drink caffeine. You understand? It's me doing that. You understand? It's me pushing myself to do that. You understand? It's so stupid. I mean, I realize how stupid I am. You understand? I'm so stupid that you can understand that. You understand? I'm a very stupid person. But the thing is that you have to realize that I made mistakes in life, and now is the time for me to do better. And now is the time for me to grow into a new person. And I realize that sometimes my mum says things around words, for example, that entices me to smoke cigarettes or anything like that. And she, around words, like even words entices me, you understand, to smoke cigarettes and to drink caffeine. So the thing is that I realize that words have no effect on me, you understand? The thing is that I can say no and that's it. No is no and that's it. So just tell them no and that's it. You understand? So make sure that no words can control you. Make sure that you control yourself. Make sure you document your thoughts every single day around what you're doing and around life. And what I'm going to be doing for the next 30 days is documenting my thoughts and how I feel and what I'm doing in the moment to get away from cigarettes or to get away from caffeine or to get away from meat, for example. So I'm going to be documenting, and it's really, to summarize everything in terms of the best words I can give you, is I'm just quitting meat, I'm quitting caffeine, and I'm quitting nicotine. And that's it, nothing else. So pretty much it's just meat, caffeine, nicotine. And alcohol is something that I don't even need. I mean, it's not like I need alcohol or anything like that. I don't need alcohol at all. Yes, and the thing is that I can do without alcohol in life. I'm not addicted to alcohol, but I'm just quitting meat, caffeine, and nicotine. So nicotine is found in cigarettes, and it's an addictive drug. But the thing is that you don't need it. Yes, and the thing is that I'm just quitting those aspects of life, and that's it. So what I want to do now is I want to call my dad. And I don't know if he's seen my message or anything, but I want to see if he's up for talking to me or something like that. Or maybe I just let him be. But the thing is that I realized something. It's much more how I do myself a favor and just live life. I live my own basis. I live my own life. And just let him see the message. I want to let my dad see the message and just let it be for a bit of time. Because if I call him now, I realize he's at the I realized he's at the funeral over there with stuff like that with one of my friends that passed away, and I don't want to bother him at the moment. So as much as I want to talk to him, I don't want to talk to him as well. Do I want to talk to him? I probably know. I don't want to talk to him at the moment, but some part of me wants to talk to him. In a sense, so the thing is, I just want to let it be. And just move on. I mean, just let him do what he needs to do over there and stuff like that, and just let it be. And I don't want to ask him right now, oh Dad, can you give me a car or something like that. I mean, he's at the funeral over there. He's thinking about the funeral. I mean, he's around grieving people over there and stuff like that. So it's much more. It's a better space of mind to just let him be and just let him see the thoughts out there that I gave him, and just be a nice and beautiful person in the process and stuff like that. So the thing is, now I realize I have to do this. I have to do this for myself. It's not a difficult task. I have to just realize when I wake up in the morning, or when I wake up, I'm just gonna be in my bed. I'm just gonna daze off. I'm just gonna go without cigarettes. I'm gonna go without Red Bull. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go much better now than ever before. I'm gonna try really right now. I'm gonna really try to do better. See, anyway, guys, so right now I'm in a good space of mind right now. I'm ready to talk individual words. I'm ready to do some synonyms and antonyms as well. And I have to abbreviate better for myself, because I understand something, that I've been living much more than other people, for example. So I cannot complain with the lifestyle that I have. But the thing is that I recently subtracted and added and surplus into my life some things around living in Australia and how it would be for me. For example, I understand it won't be as affordable for me to live in Australia as it would be to live with my mum, for example. So all I can say is go the most affordable way. I realize for me that means go toward my mum and live with my mum, because it's going to be much more affordable for me to live with my mum. And I realize it's much more how I have my mum, and I can start a family over here in Europe, for example. So slowly I realize maybe my mum buys me a car, or maybe I go work a 9-to-5 job and I earn myself a car or something like that. But it's not a problem. But I recently asked my dad to buy me a car over there in Australia, because I'll be in Australia for the next 2 years, for example. I understand that, because the medications, they're dropping my medications and stuff like that. So the thing is that now I realize something, that it's more how I don't need a car, but it would be nice to have one. But the thing is that I can use my dad's car and it's no problem. But the thing is, now I realize once I move away from my dad, for example, I realize it's going to be different. I mean, I'm not going to have my dad anymore, you understand? But the thing is that it's either he's going to leave me or I'm going to leave him first. I mean, what's going to happen is I have to leave him first. I mean, I have to let him be alone. You understand? I mean, I have to let him live his life, how he does it for himself. And I have to go on and live my life with my mum, for example, because it's much better for me to be with my mum than it is to be with my dad at the moment. And it's much more how, it's not much better for me to live with my mum than my dad. But the thing is, it's much more how both have their goods and bads. You understand? Both my dad and mum have their goods and bads. For example, my dad doesn't take me out much, and he doesn't need to. I don't need him to take me out. I can take myself out. But he doesn't do things with me much. But the thing is, my mum likes to do things with me. She likes to go to the pools with me. She likes to go to the lake with me. She likes to do things with me, for example. She likes to take me shopping. She likes to go with me to a coffee shop and have a coffee or something like that. And I realized some things around my mother, that she shouts a lot at me. I mean, she shouts at, I mean, she's always getting angry at me and stuff like that. And she's always telling me what to do and stuff like that. And my dad doesn't tell me what to do as much as my mum, for example. So the thing is that where am I trying to get with this? I mean, I'm just explaining my life story right here. I'm just talking to you about my life. But the thing is that I have to do something about my finances. I have to do something about my life. I have to reorganize my life. I have to plan. I have to plan forward. I have to do something every single day to do life coaching. And why do I have to do life coaching? Because it helps me. It helps me to talk to somebody, to live life in a better way. Because I have a purpose. I have some kind of purpose in life. I have some kind of drive. But the thing is that I see how many people I have not got my lifestyle approach. They're living worse than me. You understand? They're living worse off than me. And I cannot complain. I cannot complain with the situation where I'm at, because there are people out there doing worse than me in life. I mean, of course, there's always going to be someone doing better than you in life. And there's always going to be there's always going to be someone doing worse than you. You understand? So you're always somewhere in the middle. Do you understand? Even Grant Cardone, I'm pretty sure there's people doing better than him in terms of life. You understand? So, but he's doing better than other people as well. You understand? So everyone's doing better than other people, and everyone's doing worse than other people in some aspects. Do you understand? So the thing is that with me now, I'm understanding that I have to grow. I have to journal. I have to live my life to the best degree that I can, and just enjoy. Enjoy my holiday with my mum. I realize now how many days do I have with my mum over here. I want to check it out. I see over here 44 days. I have another 44 days with my mum, and I mean, it might be the last time I see my mum. Do you understand? So nothing's guaranteed in life. I mean, what I want to explain something, guys, is that people say invest your money in mutual funds, invest your money in real estate, and invest your money into stocks and dividends of mutual funds and stuff like that. Like, for example, 401k and all that. All I want to say is just don't invest your money where they want you to invest your money, because you have to understand something. You must never ever invest your money in mutual funds. You must never ever invest your money in real estate. You must never invest your money in, for example, investments like stocks and bonds and the stock market, because you have to understand something, that tomorrow is not guaranteed. You understand? So if you have excess money, if you have a lot of money in your pocket, then you have to understand something, that it's much better to invest your money somewhere than to have it sitting in the bank. I understand that. But the thing is that if you don't have a lot of money in life, then the thing is that you have to keep that money for yourself. Yes, then it's much better to keep that money for yourself than it is to go and invest your money into stocks and bonds and mutual funds and real estate and all that stuff and stock market, for example, and gold and silver and stuff like that. You have to understand, you have to never invest in that if you don't have a lot of money. But you have to understand that if you have a lot of money, make sure you just invest in real estate, because real estate can get you everything that you ever want. And that's what Grant Cardone does, for example. He invests all his money into real estate, and he just keeps investing into real estate. You understand? That's where he goes for everything. And that's why he can always do big business around the world. And that's why he has a jet, because it's just all funded by real estate. And if you're not going in the real estate game, then guess what? I promise you'll never be rich like Grant Cardone. So you'll never accumulate $2 billion in your life if you don't go in real estate. You understand? I promise you, it's really that you can become a billionaire. I mean, you can become a millionaire through business, but you can never become a billionaire through just real estate. And I mean, you can become a billionaire through real estate, and you have to understand that real estate is the biggest business in the world. But the thing is that you have to understand that there are businesses out there that are $1 billion businesses, and people made it like that. You have to understand, people like to be curious about things, and they like to go their own ways, and they like to learn. You have to understand, they like to learn stuff. So for example, you have to understand that you have to go some kind of way in life that's going to help you to grow. You understand? But the thing is that sometimes going the most affordable way is the best way. So the thing is that I'm going to delay working a 9 to 5 job, and I'm going to go to my mum, for example. And once I live with my mum, I realize that my mum's going to be funding me and stuff like that. She's going to be giving me money. But the thing is that eventually she's going to say, Danny, you have to work a 9 to 5 job now. And I want you to find a job. And then I have to find a job. You understand? I have to work. But at least I'm going to have my mother around. At least I won't have to pay for rent. At least I will accumulate some money in my bank account. And at least I get to eat and drink and have clothing on me and stuff like that for free. Because my mum's going to always buy stuff for me and she always spoils me. But the thing is that once I start working, I can get my own clothing. I can get my own car. I can get my own things. I can get stuff for myself. I can start transcribing a life, living a lifestyle with my mum, and I can walk it out with my mum over here around Mains and stuff like that. I can go wherever I want to go alone with my mum. You understand? I'm close to Europe. I realize everything in Europe is close by. You understand? I can always drive to Belgium. I can drive to Netherlands. I can drive anywhere around Europe, for example. I can go see Europe for myself. You understand? I can go alone. I don't have to go with my mum. You understand? So that's how it is. So the thing is that I want to always do better for myself. The thing is that it's much more how I always have to grow, and I have to deliver content, and I have to make sure that it's going to be a new lifestyle for me. So either way, it's either if I live with my dad, it's going to be a new lifestyle for myself. Once my dad passes away in Australia, I realize he's going to pass away, and then what's going to happen is I'll be left alone in Australia. And the thing is that if I live in Australia, then it's more how all those girls that I had, like for example, a relationship with, or anything that failed in terms of girls out there, in terms of girls who were with me. I mean, you have to understand, I failed in relationships with women over there in Australia. I mean, that's all going to come back to me because, like, for example, I'd be living in Australia, and it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, for example. So the thing is that I was very confused in that time. But let's say I live in Australia, for example, and I choose my dad's housing commission, and I go and live in Australia over living with my mum, for example. So instead of living with my mum, I just live in Australia alone. Then everything that, for example, in terms of women, everything that happened with women is always going to come back to me, because it was always a fail. It was always rejection. It was always like it didn't work out with those women. You understand? And I'm living in Australia. But like this, if I move out, if I move out to my mum's house, then it's like it was meant to happen. I mean, it was meant to happen that those relationships and all that was meant to fail, because I at least have my mother now. And my mother's not willing to move to Australia. So the thing is that I have to move in with her in Europe. So the thing is that I'm getting Croatian papers right now. And I'm getting myself a Croatian passport so that I can live in Europe. And so I can live in Belgium or Netherlands or anywhere around Europe that I want to live in. I can live in, for example. But the thing is that the main thing that I'm getting my Croatian passport is so that I can live with my mum in Germany. So if she moves to Croatia, I can move to Croatia with her. I mean, depending where she wants to move and what she wants to do, I'm going to stick by my mother, and she's going to hold my hand. Yes, and the thing is that I want to live with her. I don't want to go and pay rents. I don't want to, for example, go out there and work 9 to 5 jobs so that I can live alone. I want to live with my mum now. In a sense, because I'm moving in with my mum, I would rather live with my mum for the next 10 years maybe, or something like that. And then eventually when I accumulate some money, I mean, maybe I have a girlfriend at that time or something like that. Or maybe I move out with my girlfriend somewhere in a city nearby my mum's house or something like that. Or depending where my mum's going, I realize it's just how it's going to be. But maybe I don't have a kid in this lifetime. Maybe it's not for me. You understand? Maybe you have to understand I'm ready to father a child right now, I can father a child, but the thing is that you have to understand that sometimes you have to understand that people make it up that it's not easy to make a living for yourself, you understand? So you have to understand that you can make a living for yourself, but you have to realize that sometimes living with your parents is the best thing, you understand? So all those relationships that didn't work out in Australia, now it doesn't even matter anymore because I'm living with my mum overseas, you understand? So that's why it's much more better for me to move overseas with my mum, because at least I have my mum. I'd rather have my mum than those women that I was with, for example. You understand? So maybe if I had a relationship with a girl in Australia, I'd be alone over there. I'd have no dad. I'd have nobody over there except that girl that I love, for example. And I'd have her family and me over there in Australia. You understand? But all my relatives and all my cousins and all my family is all over Europe. I mean, they're everywhere, all around Europe. So Australian life is not for me anymore. I have to start moving on. Do you understand? I have to move on from that. I have to go live with my mum. You understand? Because it's much more affordable for me to do so. And I don't want to be left alone in Australia. Do you understand? And is that a problem for me? I promise you no. I can live alone. I realize if I really try to live alone, I can live alone. But the thing is that I realized something, that even at my best version, I'd still struggle with finances in Australia, you understand, because of how high the prices are in terms of real estate. I realize the real estate prices are really high in rents over there in Australia, and like you have to have a 9 to 5 job, otherwise you're going to be on the street. Do you understand? And I have nobody out there in Australia except my mum over here in Germany. So you have to understand that it's much more how in Australia right now I have my dad, and I'll live with my dad for as long as possible. But the thing is that eventually I'm moving to my mum's house, for example, and I understand that at my mum's house I have security that I'll never be homeless on the street. I'll never be homeless with my mum. I understand that. So I'd rather do that. I'd rather have security in terms of housing over here with my mum, so that I'll never be homeless on the street for any case. Maybe I get fired from my job, I have no money to pay the rent or something like that, and they kick me out. You understand? The thing is that can happen to anybody. Do you understand? So maybe it's better to live with your parents all the time. You understand? For some time, you live with your parents for some time. Be single. I mean, why do you need a man or woman to fulfill your life? I mean, why do you need kids right now? I mean, why don't you have kids in a better time when you're fully ready to have a kid? Do you understand? So maybe having kids is not for you. I mean, have you ever thought about that? Yes, and the thing is that many people, like, they want to have kids, but it's not the right time to have kids. And it's like, if you have kids right now, you can be a father right now. You can always do something to help those kids to succeed and stuff like that. But you can only ever make that kid just like you. Yes, and so you can give them speedy recovery information. You can help them to live life much greater. And for example, everything that I've done around life coaching and around quotes and around videos on YouTube is all that if I ever have a kid, they're going to be able to watch me. They're going to be able to listen to me. They're going to be able to be coached by me, because I'm starting coaching now for my kids. I'm starting to coach my kids now, even though they're not alive yet. You understand? So the thing is, that's why I'm posting everything on YouTube. I'm posting everything on Amazon.com.au, and you have to understand that I'm just posting as much content online as possible, so that if I have a kid someday, that I won't be I don't have to teach that kid exactly everything again. You understand? So the thing is that it's much more how I have so much content online. I just say to the kid, hey son or daughter, go read from me online now, because I have so much videos on YouTube. Go and study that content, and also go and read all my quotes and stuff like that. And they're going to be able to really pick up my information really faster and stuff like that. And they're going to be able to really see for themselves what's the best idea to become much more like me, for example. You understand? But along the way, when they ask me questions in real life, I just answer them really quickly. Do you understand? But the thing is that it's much more how it's going to be a speedy recovery, and it's going to be a speedy process to teach them, because I taught a lot of you guys already a lot of things around life. And I'm just 30 years of age. I mean, you have to understand that my career has been 5 years of life coaching now, and I've done 4 years of music production. I realize it's my 4th year in music production, and it's my 6th year life coaching, in a sense. So the thing is that I'm really gathering all that I need to do in life. I'm gathering everything that I need to do, and I'm just doing it. I'm doing as much possible. I'm doing as much as possible around words every single day, making sure that I'm living life to the fullest every single day, doing things every single day to help my life. But I'm somehow glad. I'm glad that I'm gonna live with my mum, even though it's not the best situation with my mum in terms of finances, and in terms of, like, for example, she's much more, I realize my mum has much more money than my dad, for example, and I can live a much more luxury lifestyle around my mum than my dad, for example. So around my dad, you have to understand that the government of Australia gives me money over there. You understand? So I'm receiving allowance, I'm receiving a pension, I'm receiving a disability support pension from the government over there in Australia, and that's why my dad cannot afford to have me around. You understand? He cannot afford to feed me. He cannot afford to do things for me in terms of money. Do you understand? Because he doesn't even have for himself money. Do you understand? So the thing is that the Australian government over there is why the reason that I can live with my dad. Do you understand? Because I have money from the government over there, and that's why I can live with my dad. But with my mum over here, as soon as I move over to my mum's house, I realize she has money to finance me on her own. I mean, she can finance me without the government giving me money. So instead of relying on the government for money, I'll just rely on my mother for money. Yes, and the thing is that eventually my mother's gonna say, "Hey, Danny, now it's time to work a 9 to 5 job, this, that. I'll go work a 9 to 5 job. At least I won't be homeless on the street, because I have my mum's house. I have things around Germany that I realize a lot of people speak English around here as well in Germany. I realize you can get around easily. So the thing is that I want to go and explore Mainz for myself. I want to drive to Mainz. I want to take the bus to Mainz. I just want to walk Mainz for a bit on my own. And I want to walk Frankfurt on my own. I want to just go and just walk around, yes, and just walk around on my own accord. Eventually, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that eventually. I want to walk the block around here. I want to get to know the place. I want to study the place and stuff like that. So the thing is that maybe sometimes I have to go back to Australia to renew my passport, or to renew my driver's license, or anything like that I might need to do, for example. So maybe I have to come back to Australia just for a bit of time. But the thing is that eventually I just go back to my mum again. And the thing is that my mum's even gonna sell this house over here, and she's gonna sell this, and she's gonna move somewhere around Croatia, somewhere around a better way where she can have a much more space, she can have much more freedom, for example, where she can have much more land, for example, and stuff like that. So that's my mum. She wants to move out from this place and stuff like that. So the thing is that she has a ability over here. My mum has business skills, you know what I'm saying? She's really smart around business. And you have to understand that my dad's not as smart as my mum in terms of business skills, you understand? But my dad's much smarter than my mum in terms of public speaking, and also, for example, getting, for example, singing gigs and stuff like that. And that's different, you understand? But the thing is that my dad's a better singer than my mum, for example. But the thing is that it's much more how you have to realize that my dad has built his career around singing, and he could have made it in Serbia. He could have become someone really good in Serbia. But the thing is that he came to Australia, and because he came to Australia, there wasn't much of a community for him over here in Australia to succeed, really. But if he was in Serbia, I'm pretty sure in Serbia, he could have been a pop star right now, like many people over there. And he could have been someone big in Serbia, for example. He could have had a great life over there in Serbia by himself, with his family over there. But the thing is that he came to Australia, he met my mum in Australia, and that's how they had me in Australia and stuff like that. And that's why he chose a son over his career. Yes, and he chose to have a son in terms of life than to have a career over there in Serbia. So that's his choices, do you understand? So, and I realized I miss my dad. I mean, I have to say I miss my dad. And what do I miss about my dad? I just miss sitting with my dad, you understand? Being in silence with my dad, just doing what I want to do with him. I realize it's not about smoking cigarettes with him. I realize it's not about drinking caffeine with him. I realize it's just, I feel like being alone. You understand? With my dad, I get to be alone. And with my mum, I get to be alone too. So the thing is that I have that alone time with my mum. I have my alone time with my dad. Yes, and so anytime I want to be alone with my mum, I can be alone, for example. So the thing is that right now I realize I have to go sleep earlier tonight and I have to do better. So it's much more how I just do some Netflix. And when I watch Netflix, I just watch the images. I don't really watch the audio of films, for example, unless I go to the cinema. And I've said that a million times to you guys. But the thing is that you have to understand every single video is unique. You understand everything that I do is unique. And I'm really glad right now that I get to go the most affordable way. Yeah, and that's my guiding compass. You understand? Go the most affordable way. So if alcohol will cost you per night $200 per night, or 200 euros per night to go to a nightclub to get drunk, why don't you go the most affordable way and just go and drink water instead? And that's for free. Yes, and water's for free in nightclubs. And you don't even have to spend that much on alcohol anymore. And you can have more money for yourself this way. Yes, and so that's what you can do for yourself. And realize that it's much more how just go the most affordable way. That's my guiding compass. So I'm glad that I can live with my mum. For example, that I can start a new life with my mum. And it's going to be new. I mean, I've traveled Australia. I've seen Australia, for example. And now it's time to go Uruguay with my mum, for example. So my mum's going to come Uruguay with me. And we're going to go together. We're going to see my cousin over there. And we're going to sit over there in Uruguay for 1 month and just relax and stuff like that. So it's going to be a new experience, new things happening and stuff like that. So it's going to be a new time. Yes, and new time's coming for me. And my mum's going to be much more strict on me. I understand she's going to be much more strict on me and stuff like that. But I realize it's much more how it's going to be a new life for me. I'm going to have a new life. And my mum's going to really boss me around to have a good life, you understand? So she does it for my own good. And I realize she just wants me to discipline myself, you understand? And that's all she asks for, really. You understand? That's all. The arguments are all around just disciplining yourself and nothing else. You understand? So I just realized that now. So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have enjoyed my program, and see you guys in the next program. See you guys, so I just found out that once I live with my mum, I realize what's going to happen is they're going to drop my medication. And once I live with my mum, I understand that those episodes of getting angry with my mum is never going to happen, because it's never happened before in my life. I never got angry at my mum. Yes, and so the thing is that it's much more how I realize that now. I realize I never had a situation in my life where I got angry at my mum. Yes, and so I realized that for the first time today. But the thing is that once they drop my medication from Australia, what's going to happen is I'm going to move to my mum's house, and then I'm going to be off the medication. I'm going to be losing weight very fast. And the thing is that I'm going to be walking. I'm going to see the life in Germany. I'm going to be able to explore Germany for myself, and I'm going to be able to go around places around Germany, and I'm going to have money. Because I'll be working that 9-to-5 job, and I'm starting a new life, for example. So the thing is, the good thing I realized about this audio program, or anything that I said in this program and today, is that I'll be off the medication when I move over to my mum's house. Whereas once I move to my mum's house, I'll be off the medication completely. And that way I understand it's much more how, from that point of view, I realize everything around Australia is gone and dusted, and I'm moving on into a better life, and that's it. I realize I have no time to do illegal drugs right now. I realize the thing is that I never do illegal drugs ever again. I realized it did screw my life up to some degree. I realized I got fat 3 times because of the medications. I was fat 3 times, guys. 3 times I gained weight on the medication. And the first time that they put me on the medication, I was on that medication for about a few years before they dropped it down. And then what happened was I stopped taking medications, and then they put me for a few years again on the medications. And it's much more how, from that point of view, this time round, I realized I got angry at my dad, because like my dad likes to play head games, for example. He likes to, I realized he wasn't even playing head games with me. He just woke up, like he's not even himself when he wakes up. And he didn't even speak to me at all, and then I just started getting angry. Just out of nowhere. Like rage. I mean, I wasn't hearing voices, I wasn't delusional. But the thing is that I was showing Jesus Christ to him. You know, I was showing Jesus Christ to my dad. And somehow I just got angry. You know, but not because of anything other than it was just anger, like just things like my dad's gonna kill me or something like that. And my dad started to go, and because I took the knife, I took the knife out of the kitchen, and he started searching for the knife, and I was so scared about that. I was so afraid of my dad that I got angry. You know, and so fear is anger. You know, and so you have to understand that. And so I'm saying there's a better life with my mum coming up, and I'm really, really glad now that I made a final decision where I wanna be in the future. And I'm leaving Australia. I'm leaving that Serbian community behind, thank God. I mean, none of them are gonna know where I am in life, and it's much more how I'm living. I'm living to the fullest now. I realize things are working out for me in terms of some aspects, and I realize that other people have got a worse life than me. I have to be thankful for my life. I'm so grateful for my life, that God gave me a sense of clarity to never kill someone, to never steal in a way that, to never steal people in terms of to kill them. Do you understand? So I'm lucky I'm not in prison right now. I could have been in prison all my life. You understand? I had situations in my life where I could have went to prison all my life. And it's just crazy. Do you understand? Never get yourself into violence. You understand? When I was in high school, I wasn't teaching anybody anything much. You understand? I thought that was the lifestyle, and I wasn't smart at all. You understand? I wasn't smart. I wasn't a smart kid in school. You understand? And you have to realize that I was learning. I was trying my best to learn, but I was just jigging school a lot. I wasn't going to school a lot. I was missing out on education, and I wasn't planning for university. I wasn't planning to go to university, and somehow it just worked out for me. You have to understand that it's really like, if I went to university over there in what's it called, in the nice and beautiful Australia, I realized maybe I could have used that university degree to find a job over here in Germany, maybe. But the thing is that it's much more how I would have to pay off a big loan debt of student loans and stuff like that. So I realized it's more how I didn't go that way. So thank God I'm not in debt. Yes, I'm not in debt to anybody. So I get to live my life to the fullest. I get to leave Australia and leave everything behind over there, because I've seen Australia. I went to Perth, I went to Hobart, and where's the most beautiful city in Australia? It has to be Sydney. For me, it's Sydney. I realize Sydney is the most beautiful. And why is that? Because I lived there most of my life. I understand the culture. I understand exactly all the areas of Sydney and stuff like that. I understand where everything is around Sydney. And yeah, where's the second most beautiful city of Australia? I'm pretty sure it has to be, I think, Melbourne. Melbourne's the next point of view over here. I think Brisbane's even nicer, to be honest. I like Brisbane, but Brisbane or I realize it's either a toss up between Brisbane or Melbourne. Yes, and Melbourne is a beautiful city. I mean, it's a beautiful city, and Perth's a beautiful city. I mean, you have to visit Australia. You have to go around Australia. But the thing is that when you get to Cairns, Darwin, and Alice Springs, apparently you're gonna see the outback. I mean, that's the outback. That's crocodile territory. That is different. I mean, you understand? So the thing is that it's just different over there. And I realized Diana Knezhevich over here, one of my lovers, one of the girls that used to love me. I mean, she went to Cairns and she got married over there. I mean, she got a proposal over there in Cairns, and I realized I was right there in that spot just a few years ago, and I was doing good. I was doing good for myself in that situation. But the thing is that lucky I went around Australia to see all that, because it was such a great experience. I realized how great that was to go alone, and I realized how much I learned along the way as well, in terms of finances and everything like that. But I want to make an improvement. I always want to make an improvement in myself. So I'm just going to write down, I'm going to quit smoking over here. So just write cigarettes and nicotine. Just want to write it down so that I can help myself to succeed, because I have a countdown and I use it every single day to just stay away from food. In terms of some aspects of life, I stay away from some certain foods and stuff like that. But the thing is that now I'm growing myself, I'm doing better, and I just want to do better for myself. So anyway, guys, see you guys in the next program. See you guys. So I'm just going to do some synonyms and antonyms for myself to grow. So let's have a look over here what I can find and muster up for myself. So the word of the day is imagination. So imagination is creativity. I see creativity is vision. I see vision is fantasy. I see fantasy is fancy. I see fancy is inventiveness. I see inventiveness is ingenuity. I see ingenuity is imagery. I see imagery is resourcefulness. I see resourcefulness is inspiration. I see inspiration is originality. I see originality is invention. I see invention is imaginativeness. I see imaginativeness is dream. I see dream is resource. I see resource is creativeness. I see creativeness is imaging. I see imaging is insight. I see insight is daydream. I see daydream is fantasies. I see fantasies is conception. I see conception is illusion. I see illusion is enterprise. I see enterprise is flight of fancy. I see flight of fancy is fantasia. I see fantasia is innovation. I see innovation is thought. I see thought is fiction. I see fiction is idea. I see idea is fantasy. I see fantasy is initiative. I see initiative is make-believe. I see make-believe is chimera. I see chimera is gumption. I see gumption is imaging. I see gumption is imagining. I see imagining is figment. I see figment is notion. I see notion is creative power. I see creative power is mirage. I see mirage is image. I see image is imaginative. I see imaginative is innovativeness. I see innovativeness is wit. I see wit is dreams. I see dreams is fascination. I see fascination is figment of the imagination. I see figment of the imagination is interest. I see interest is mind. I see mind is thinking outside the box. I see thinking outside the box is attention. I see attention is creative spirit. I see creative spirit is daydreams. I see daydreams is fancies. I see fancies is supposition. I see supposition is artistry. I see artistry is feeling. I see feeling is ideal. I see feeling is ideality. I see ideality is imagine. I see ideality is imagine. I see imagine is ingenuousness. I see ingenuousness is intelligence. I see intelligence is big eyes. I see big eyes is envisagement. I see envisagement is eyes for. I see eyes for is genius. I see genius is inner zone. I see inner zone is perception. I see perception is pipe dreams. I see pipe dreams is romancing. I see romancing is visualization. I see visualization is whimsy. I see whimsy is castles in the sky. I see whimsy is castles in the air. I see castles in the air is daydreaming. I see daydreaming is entrepreneurially. I see daydreaming is entrepreneurialism. I see entrepreneurialism is fabrication. I see fabrication is flair. I see flair is folk bold. See flair is folk bold. I see flair is folk ballad. I see folk ballad is folk ballads. I see folk ballads is new ideas. I see new ideas is passion. I see passion is perceptibility. I see perceptibility is phantasm. I see phantasm is reverie. I see reverie is vivid imagination. I see vivid imagination is cleverness. I see cleverness is creation. I see creation is fertility. I see fertility is finesse. I see fertility is finesse. I see finesse is imaginings. I see imaginings is intuition. I see intuition is thinking. I see thinking is unreality. I see unreality is creation of the brain. I see creation of the brain is curiosity. I see curiosity is delusion. I see delusion is enterprises. I see enterprises is fantasized. I see enterprises is fantasized. I see fantasized is head. I see head is individuality. I see individuality is initiatives. I see initiatives is pie in the sky. I see pie in the sky is realization. See, so guys, what's the best guiding compass in life? See, you have to understand it's information. So the more information you have in life, the better you can go about life in a better way. So, for example, if you study so much something in life, then you're going to succeed in what you study, okay? So if you ever want to see better, or if you ever want to become much more aware or conscious of everything, then you have to read more, you have to study more, you have to really, really self-educate yourself, because education is going to get you further than anything ever will. So make sure every single day that the more you educate yourself, the better you're going to be around your mindset and attitude and confidence and ability and courage and potential, and just you're going to be able to grow. You're going to be able to see exactly what you need to do to succeed. So every single day you have to understand to educate yourself every single day, because that's very important for your success. It's very important to succeed every single day because that way you understand something. Do you understand? So the reason that I'm so successful in terms of what I do is because I get financially educated. I get educated around life. I use my experience and stuff like that to help myself to succeed. And what I do is I give out my thoughts. I give as many thoughts as possible to the world so that somebody can benefit from something I said, so that they can have a nice and beautiful opinion, or they can spread the information to someone else to help another person's life. And that way you impact the world in a positive way. So for example, by the time I reach 56, I want to have at least 10,000 videos on YouTube, for example. And it's doable. So for example, by the time I reach 56 years of age, I'll be in 26 years time, I'll be 50 years of age. So let's have a look at how many videos I can upload a day for 26 years. I realize I'll have exactly around 10,000 videos by the time I even reach 50 years of age on YouTube. Do you understand? So it's much more how it's just a growing process every single day. Do you understand? So you have to understand that every single day, that the more you create content, the better for you. And you have to understand that you have to go the most affordable way. So what I do on YouTube is I don't hashtag my videos. And the reason I don't hashtag my videos is because I don't have time to do it. I'm a one-man business at the moment, and I'm just uploading everything that I upload in terms of YouTube. I've done myself. I made all the nice and beautiful, let's say, photos of YouTube that you see on the thumbnails on my YouTube channels. And you can see all my videos with my thumbnails. For example, all my fashion photos on my YouTube channel, in terms of every single video has a thumbnail of me. And all I'm doing is branding myself. I'm branding my business. You understand? So that's my business. But the thing is that every single day I understand that life's going by. But the thing is that I'm leaving something behind to actually have a greater life. Because that's the whole point of life. Do you understand? So you have to understand that if you're really going to do something to be successful, you have to do something every single day that's going to make you to read, to actually be encouraging for yourself, to make sure that you're growing, that you're having the best time for yourself every single day, and making sure that you're doing something around the scene of growing your content. Do you understand? So when you grow your content, all you're looking to do is to read more information first. You read as much information as possible, and then you give it out. Do you understand? So, for example, you have to understand that economy today is pulling down. I'm promising the economy of the world is falling down, and we are becoming a renter's market. Okay, so for example, that means that there are more people buying houses today. For example, in terms of the rich people are buying houses in apartments and stuff like that, and they're renting it out to people like who are poor, okay, who are financially poor. You understand? Because the thing is that today in the world, people are much more likely to rent than they are to buy a mortgage rate or to get into real estate, for example. So why is that? Because the interest rates are going up on real estate, and so are the prices of real estate. It's getting much more difficult to live life, okay? So you have to understand that you have to move in with your parents. You understand? It's a new time. And you have to understand to never be ashamed of yourself to understand why you live with your parents, for example, because it's that time and place where the economy of the world is falling down, and you need to somehow have money and to support yourself, you understand, to live life. So moving in with your parents is not a bad idea. So making sure they understand that it's much more affordable to be single than to have a kid in life. So make sure you understand that. And maybe you have to understand that in my life, you have to understand I'm single right now. I'm 30 years of age. I don't know exactly what's going to happen when I turn 50 or when I turn 40 something. But the thing is that all I know is I'm going to have much more information in life, because every single day I educate myself much more. And because I educate myself, I have the edge. I have the edge over other people. You understand? And what do I educate myself around? I educate myself around finance, around business, around mindset, around health, around spirituality, around confidence, courage, sales. I mean, anything to do with public speaking as well. I try to absorb as much information as possible in the environment that I live in, so that I can have the edge in life, so that I can succeed somehow, so that I can do better than other people, for example. You know, and so that's why I read on a daily basis, because if I didn't read, I wouldn't know what's happening around the world. For example, I wouldn't know exactly how to live life. You know, and so what I do on a daily basis is I read as much as possible to be able to be financially wealthy in the future. Do you understand? Because it's better to read and to prosper and right now than it is to wait for something to happen. Do you understand? So never wait for something to happen. Never wait for money to fall out of the sky. But go and financially educate yourself financially. Educate yourself through intellect, through acknowledgement, through making sure that you're educating yourself around everything in life every single day, making sure that you understand that no matter what time you're in life, you can be living in whatever year it is. I may be even gone from this world before you even hear this. Do you understand? So the thing is that you have to always understand that my information is always going to be standing for this moment, for example, and it's always going to be relevant. You understand? So you have to understand that you have to develop yourself, and you have to do something around phones today. You have to understand that you have to create content, and the more content you create, the better for you. So for example, I see plenty of people on TikTok want to be a dancer, they want to be a speaker, they want to be a painter. I'm pretty sure other people want to be a comedian. I'm pretty sure whatever you're good at, make sure that you are doing that more often, and make sure that you're successful make sure that you're successful at it by developing your skills. You understand? So that's the whole point. So every single day, develop yourself every single day the most you can, so that you can develop something of your nature, so that you can actually put forward your life much better in terms of life. You can actually live life to the fullest. In some domain, you can help yourself to live life much more. Do you understand? Because that's the whole point of life, every single day, to make sure that you're always successful, that you're always doing something that's in regard to what you're doing in terms of your passions. You understand? So you You have to understand that the more you read, guys, the smarter you get. And the better you get is the better you have your mindset in the right place in the way of content and in the way of words. You have to find those words sometimes. So, for example, when I'm coaching people or when I'm doing something around coaching, I'm making sure that I live life.
I say to my grandfather, say, happy birthday, grandfather. Say, yeah.
So your space or mindset has to be in a great place. Every single day you have to understand that the more you read, the better you get. So you have to understand, you have to let information guide you. You have to surround yourself around people who know something. You understand? So yeah, the fact is that nobody knows anything in life, but people portray themselves like they know something. Do you understand? I mean, I know nothing about life, but I still teach because I feel that I can reason and I can show you a better way throughout life. And that's what I do. I mean, that's my whole passion every single day, showing you guys exactly what you need to do on a daily basis to succeed. You understand? So every single day that I live life to the fullest, or every single day I do something special for myself, I make sure that I read as much information as possible because it gets my information to spark up intrusion in terms of life where I can go and grow. And what intrusion means in terms of my definition is getting to know information. Yes, and so when you get to know information in terms of everything that you're doing, you're just going to be a smarter person. You're just going to be a smarter person overall. Yes, and because life is like that. So you have to coach yourself. You have to every single day do the best job you can. Do the best job you can every single day. Live your life to the point of recognition where you can succeed, and love your life, guys. Love your life to the best point possible every single day. You understand? Because life is one thing. Life is one thought. You understand? One thought every single day is going to get you. It's going to get you in a greater space. So try to every single day grow the most you can. Grow the most you can in terms of life. Pick the most affordable way. You understand? So for example, for myself over here, I have the opportunity to live in Australia by myself or go live with my mum. So I'm choosing to go live with my mum because I have the security over here of not being homeless on the street. I have the security that I don't have to pay rent in my life. I don't have to pay rent in my life ever again because I live with my mum, I live with my dad. And the thing is that if I meet a woman along the way, it's going to be because I'm confident and not because of my money. In a sense, so the confidence in life is what gets the woman. The confidence in life is what gets whatever you need in life. So always strategize around your life. Yes, and you have to be strategizing. You have to be every single day on your toes. You have to be very, very fit for life every single day. But what if you're not fit for life? Then you have to get fit. You understand? You have to every single day wake up early. Wake up early. Beat up the sun every single day. Try to wake up as early as possible and try to get to work. What are you trying to get to work at? Get to work in information. Do information work. So reading information, giving out information, spreading information. You understand? Reading some more information. You understand? That's all you have to do all day long, every single day for the rest of your life. You have to update yourself around the world and what's happening. Because when you do that, you succeed far more than ever before. You actually give out your content. You're in a better headspace. Do you understand? So that's what you want to be doing every single day of your life. You want to be making sure that you're in a greater headspace every single day. Making sure that you're doing what you need to do to succeed. Do you understand? And always be in alignment. Be in alignment to who you want to be. So, for example, my life, you have to understand that I failed many times in my life. I fell down and I smoked cigarettes many times in my life. And I drank alcohol many times in my life. I drank caffeine many times in my life. I drank white sugar many times in my life. And the thing is that it's just up to you. How long do you want to live in life? That's up to you. But the thing is that you must never own anything in this world anyway. Jesus Christ says that you must never own anything in this world. That's why this world is becoming a renter's nation. Do you understand? You can see that. Because more people today, they want to own real estate. Do you understand? They want to own real estate so that they can become richer in the process. But the thing is that Jesus Christ teaches you that you must never own anything. Don't own anything of this world, because you're not going to take it to your grave. You see, the cemetery is for rich people. I mean, rich people live in the cemetery. You understand? They have peace and quiet. You understand? They're comfortable. You understand? They're living life fully in the grave. Do you understand? So you have to understand that whatever's happening in the world, Jesus Christ already said that this world is going to get worse before it gets better. You understand? And you have to understand that life is always going to be better off with you than without you. So what you need to do is you need to provide information, services. You have to understand every single day, do something around information work. Every single day, give your opinion. You understand? Live your life to the best degree that you can. Every single day, do something around life coaching, like I do, but do it better than me. You understand? Do something better than me. I mean, this life is good without me. You understand? I mean, this world doesn't need my information, because this world already has my information somehow. You understand? So I promise you, people have experienced your life. Do you understand? They've experienced who you are in life. So, for example, if you have over 1 billion people in this life, I promise you that all those 1 billion people put together have experienced what you've experienced in life. You understand? So the thing is that there's always information going around in the world, but you are one source of information where you can spread your word of mouth to other people so that you can help benefit their life. I mean, isn't that the point of life? I mean, isn't it the point of life to keep succeeding, to keep doing something every single day that's going to make you successful? Do you guys understand what I'm on about? Of course, you have to be very, very fit to live life every single day, the most you can. You understand? Every single day, doing the best job you can, doing something around succeeding. And if you're not life coaching, guys, you have to be life coaching every single day. Every single day, just open up your mouth, see where you're going in life, see what you're doing, see how you're going to succeed in life, and just say it and never spray it. You understand? Because some people spit while they talk, and never spit while you talk. Say it normally without spitting. You understand? Make sure that you're living to the best potential that you can be, and that way you live in the emotions. You understand? When you live in the emotions of life, you can go anywhere you want to go. You can do whatever you want to do. You understand? So money won't limit you. Your physical body won't limit you. Or you can never limit yourself. I mean, you have to understand that people get across somehow toward life. They go they go somewhere around life. And you have to understand, I had a nice and beautiful conversation recently with a woman, and she said that most people go for the looks instead of what's inside. So most people go for external factors more than they go for internal factors. And what does that really mean? So it means that more people go for looks than they do the personality of the person. You know, so that's what all it means. That's all it means. That people are more, let's say, into looks than they are into what's inside of the person. In a sense, so you have to realize that you have to be a good person in order to attract good people into your life. In a sense, so Surround yourself around better people. Surround yourself around people who understand money and who understand how to get around and who understand how to live life. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you get across in a better way. And that's how you function in a better way as well. You know what I'm saying? You have to always live life to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? That's your job. That's what you need to be doing. So if you want to be successful, you have to spread that information really quickly into the world as much as possible and see that life is a great thing to have in life. When you have life, when you have wisdom to give other people, and that way you succeed. That's what you have to understand about life. That life is always one with everything. Life is always spiritual, you understand? So live life to the best of your ability every single day and never give up. You understand? Never give up about the life you have. Whereas if you have to work to live life, work to live life. Do you understand? But don't just live for yourself. Live for God. You understand? Live for God every single day. Do God's work every single day and you shall be always rich.